Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review the round 5 for AFL SuperCoach in the 2024 season. I guess an okay week, top 8% overall with a 1991. We did move up close to 5,000 ranks, but still wasn't good enough to win us our head-to-head matchup. So I guess that has disappointed me a little bit this week, if I'm being completely honest. But I guess a good week from my opponent. So we'll have a look at the team and how they went. So Luke Ryan and Harry Sheasel, absolutely killing it. 145 and a 159. So, these guys lock them down, set and forget, throw away the key. All those other analogies, they're not going anywhere in our defence. Dacos had the bye. He's not going anywhere either. Although there is some versatility with his ability to play midfield, but next week the cavalry are coming for the defence, given the dual position options. D'Ambrosio and Williams, 92, 94. For players that we paid about 200k for, that's awesome. We'll take that. We kept Howes in. We just thought, well, if his score's not that good, it'll just drop out, and we'll trade him out this week. But he scored a 62. Has reset his break even, but does have the bye this week, so you can trade out if you want. But we might just hang on for a little bit longer and squeeze that last bit of cash out before we get into upgrade season. Pink and Caulfield on the bench, we can look at removing them sooner rather than later. The Bont was really disappointing with the 73, so these things happen. There's no point worrying about it. A lot of people have him, so fair play to those who don't. You'll be able to get him in a bargain in a couple of weeks' time. Butters with the 130, he's just ticking along, doing his thing. Sarong with the 110 is fine. He has been scoring better, but we've got him for the good fixture coming up. Rowell with a 135, so he continues to push up into the elite category, which is awesome to see as a Matty Rowell fan. Nick Martin with 100, so that'll look really good in our defence next week once the DPP kicks in. Jason Horne-Francis was one of our trade-ins this week and scored a 93. So I guess given some of the options that were available, it wasn't the best, but he'll sort of cover until the buys, I think, so that's a good option still. Sanders with a 46 got subbed off, didn't enjoy it, but apparently Deliber has a bit of an injury, so you'd expect he will play this week. May have sort of, stunted his cash gen, but, we do have options to move on from him when we need to. McKercher sounds like he's got a rib injury, 6, which saw him actually lose a bit of cash, break even of about 100. So he might be one that we can move on this week, sort of bank the money we've made there and move on. Sharp with a 54, obviously after a 120, it's a bit disappointing, but he's now made us, he's made 180 overall. Pretty sure we got on at 150, so he's made us 150k. Let's have a look. What was he? Oh, he was 180. I've undersold it there, but you can see he still made us close to 120k, which is awesome. Obviously, Harley Reid went off this week, which sort of, I guess, makes that trade a bit more of a sideways one than what it was last week. Well, that's how SuperCoach works. Jai Clark with a 2 coming on as a sub, but we can get out of him this week and try to alleviate that sub risk. Max Gorn was our VC option and crushed it with a 138. So, we did have Bond as captain, so great call to take the VC score. Meek was our other trade-in for Grundy, and an 81 was okay. He's made a bit of money, 44k to be exact. But I guess in line with the Bont not doing well, Timmy English also had a bit of a shocker this week. So could make it a bit easy to upgrade to him in the next couple of weeks. So I don't think it's a bad move. It's not the best move in the history of the world, but it is what it is. And in our forward line, we had Flanders with a 116. So, he's locked in our forward line for the rest of the year. Tommy Powell with a 98's solid enough to keep around. Nat Fife with an 81, so he's still making money. Cadman with a 64, is moving up. Darcy with an 82. So I know that was last week he started moving up. So, he's already made 130k for us in 2 weeks. Pretty nice. Wilson with a 61 got a green arrow, which is nice. And obviously Heaney was on the bye. I guess before we talk trades, we'll have a look at the head-to-heads. So as I said, 1991 was okay, but paled in comparison to Roberts' 21-29, which for 18 players is ridiculous. But I guess when you look at his pods, he had Jack Steele with a 143, Crouch with a 91, Rosie with a 125. Went early on Closey, who got a 124. Houston with a 121. Harley Reid, he kept and got a 108. And even Luke Jackson with the 72, outscoring a couple of my pods there. So fantastic result this week for the Sandgropers. And I guess second spot in the league is pretty fair, given that's the team that you've assembled. I think that was the highest score of the week. Maybe a quick shout out to Skits Fits with the 2062. So, another one who's got Steele. Ryan went early on Closey. Still got Hayden Young with a 114. So, that's pretty nice. Has Ryan Houston with a 121. VC Gorn. So, nice move there. Fantastic. Well done to you, Jared. Taz's Tarantulas as well with the 2040. I won't go through all the 2000s. There was quite a few snuck over the line. But I guess we'll give Matt's team a bit of a shout out. I don't know if we have so far this season. But Bonner with a 72. Miller with a 133. So the Suns midfielders are carving up. Zach Fisher with an 84 was solid. Good hold. But, he's got Steele, Closey, Tom Stewart with a 108. So, yep. Karmas, he's done well. What's he priced at? 258. So he's made 135k. So definitely one we've missed out on there. But fair play to those who brought him in. But we'll have a look at the team. No, I went too far back. I meant to go to Classic. Actually, I think I had to click this one instead of this one up here. So, in terms of trades this week, there's three clear and obvious trading candidates. So, Will Graham, Sam Closey, Charlie Comben. I think Closey's not number one only because so many people brought him in last week. We wanted to have a second look and missed out on 124 points. So I mean, we do have a couple of boosts left. We could absolutely use that boost and I guess bring in those cash making options in preparation for, upgrade season, which basically I guess would start from now. Obviously, we've got a couple of teams on bye this week, namely the Demons and the Tigers. But once we're back to that and we're back to full 22s, that's when we want to really start upgrading and getting our keeper type options in. So I think we're going to, take advantage this week, get our cash generation on point and go from there. So I guess we've got a defender, a midfielder, although we could double in defense, and a forward. So I think, the trade out candidates are clearly Clark, who is a sub risk and not going to make us any money. Caulfield, who's out long term injured, so we can still make money bringing in Closey for him. And then the third option, there is a couple of ways we can go about this. We could, get out of McKercher, who's got a massive break even. We could get out of Pink, who looks like he's not going to be near the team for the near future, and is just slowing our cash gen down that way. Or we could get out of a pick like Alex Sexton, who's very similar, but has a little bit more cash on his head. So I'm going to get it out of Sexton this week just because I guess he's in the forward line already. So I need to go by break even. So we can just go Combin in the forward line, Closey in defence, Will Graham in the midfield. Super simple. So, and we're sort of creeping up the total. I guess you sort of chop the 40 off there that you're getting out of Combin, a bit of money out of Clark, but it's all about that cash generation in the future. So, so we make those trades. What's happened here? It's just completely reset. No, we're still good. So, I mean, in terms of move or the team this week, if we bring in Closey on field, Gawn's obviously not available, but Livingston's not going to play. Heaney probably in for Wilson. And Combin for Cadman, perhaps. So, I guess, in terms of the team setup this week, we've got a couple of options with, if Sanders is subbing or doing that sort of thing. We can potentially loophole with, we got Saints and the Dogs, so I guess he would become the loophole. So it's just whether we play Sharp or Graham. Yeah, don't know. So Freo against West Coast, so it could be a fill up for Sharp. Yeah, Suns against Sydney's a little bit tougher. So, I mean, we can loop Sanders in if he carves up with McKercher playing late. GWS play against Carlton fairly early, so we could, look at Wilson or Cadman over a Combin. Or, we could loop in Darcy potentially. I don't know. We don't really have the easiest loophole there, so we might just leave it as is. Yeah, so it's basically how the team structure is going to go. Captaincy, against West Coast, Sarong is a fair shout for captain. We could go like VC Bont to back up against the Saints. Other than that, maybe Butters or Dacos on the Saturday Arvo. But it makes it a little bit harder because I guess we don't follow it that closely. So we do need to sort of have a Thursday, Friday night game where we've got time to assess it in the morning and loop appropriately rather than trying to do it during the day. So I might just go with the Bont to bounce back. Sarong as captain. Yeah, so obviously, you know, upgrade season coming up. Can have a look at a couple of options. So, Nguyen, I don't know if that's how you say it, but only played the one game. I know a few people going early this week, but I guess potentially, he becomes the downgrade option next week for us to upgrade somewhere else. Just looking at the other options here. So Hugo Garcia, what's his deal? So again, another one that could be the downgrade option next week. You know, upgrades. Hopefully, someone like a Jack Steele would be nice if we can afford him somehow. It's probably just going to depend on price. Elliot Yeo had a massive week. I think Sam Walsh, we can wait another week as well and have a look. But, if he goes another 166, well, then he becomes a must trade in next week at 577k. Yeah, so, I guess we'll talk about targets a bit more next week because we'll also have the DPP. So the likes of Martin, Roberts, and McKercher will, I think also Closey, will get dual status. I think D'Ambrosio will get mid status as well. So we're going to have a lot of flexibility through our defence and midfields. Um, Although I think rather than fixing up some of these dead rookies like a Pink, it'll be more so upgrading, downgrading our Williams and Sanders to a cheapie and a gun sort of thing. Um, They'll be the sort of moves over the next few weeks. There's these mid prices that we've banked on, going up to a gun, down to a rookie, to start really fleshing out our final team selection. But we'll wrap the video up there. So as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below the video. Give the video a like if you enjoy the AFL content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.